Hello, this is Mark. This session is part of a series I've made called Sleep with Mark. If you ever want more, you can just search for that name. You'll find the rest waiting. One of the best ways to experience a deeper relaxation quite quickly before you go onto a lovely nature walk is to take your attention into your body. And so you may wish to get as comfortable as you can and allow your eyes to gently close. And you can just get a sense of where it is you're resting down. Notice what's around you. You can get a sense of your body, maybe starting with the feet. And you can allow the relaxation to move more into the feet. And maybe you can notice that relaxation more in the left foot first, or the right foot. Just taking the time to notice that. Then you can just notice that relaxation and rest and calm as it moves into the legs. Again, whether you notice that more in the left or the right leg first. You can notice perhaps your breath and having a longer outward breath, because when you have a longer outward breath, you can't help but relax more deeply. And you can just notice the feeling of relaxation moving into those arms. Again, whether that be the left arm or the right arm, that you notice more first. That deeper level of relaxation. And people can, just relax more in their own time. Whenever they feel like relaxing more, it can just happen. And you may wish to notice that relaxation now, moving into the hands. An area we don't often think about relaxing, those hands, and all the muscles in those hands, just getting a sense of that relaxation and just moving into the tummy area now and into the chest, and then all the way the arms to the shoulders, and the shoulders being an area we often hold a lot of tension, so I wonder what it might be like for you just to release any tension from the shoulders. And as you release any tension from the shoulders, you can get a wonderful sense of being able to release any tension that you may notice in any other areas of the body. Just a really nice level of calm and rest. And that's right. And then you can just get a sense of that relaxation and calm, just moving upwards into the face and the muscles in the face, just relaxing those muscles. Again, often muscles we don't often think about, just relaxing the muscles in the face. And people can relax more when they take their attention inwards, because they're focusing more. And when people focus more, they can relax more. So you may just be able to get a sense of that right now. And one of the things about being able to relax more is that you can also take your attention into your mind. So I wonder what it might be like for you just to get a sense of maybe noticing yourself floating away somewhere in nature. Just getting a sense of that in your mind's eye, of being somewhere wonderful in nature, and maybe noticing wherever that may be, some sort of pathway appearing in front of you. A really nice, inviting looking pathway. A pathway where perhaps you don't quite recognize what's around you, but being perhaps a little curious to notice how you can sink deeper into rest in this calming space, and notice all the nature that you will be able to experience along the way, but also you can get a sense of that wonderful calm and escapism. Escapism from the previous things you may have had going on in your day, and how it can feel to get distance from that. Just being in the moment, in this kind of wonderful place. And as you're in this place of calm, you can perhaps notice the fresh air around you, noticing some of the colours of the things that are around you on this pathway, some of the nature, and also you can take your attention to that fresh air again, and what it might be like just to be able to breathe in that fresh air deeply with a longer outward breath. And as before, with having that longer outward breath, you can't help but relax more. And you can notice how nice that feels for the whole body to experience that level of escapism and calm and relaxation from that place. And then you can just step forwards on that path, noticing some of the things that are around you. Just moving, and with each step forward, you may also begin to notice a deeper level of calm with each of those steps. And a person doesn't have to relax more too quickly. A person can sometimes just get a sense of it happening now, or just get a sense of it happening in just a moment as you continue to walk through. And maybe you can get a sense of the gentle warming sun as you experience that gentle sun on the skin, a sense of calm can run through the body, just getting a wonderful sense of calm in that experience. And in noticing that sunlight, you can perhaps, on that path, come to some sort of wooded area. Just stepping into that wooded area where there are a lot of trees around you in that wooded area. And I wonder what it might be like for you to notice how the sunlight can begin to shine on you in different ways through the trees as you're walking through that wooded area. And you can just notice the different areas of the body where that gentle warm sun can rest. And perhaps visually you can also get a sense of the light shining through the trees as you walk through the woods on this wonderful day. And as you pass through that wood, and as you relax more as you do so, you can just notice wherever that may be for you, whether to the left of you or to the right of you, whether that be just noticing some sort of pine cone in front of you, and just notice what it might be like to pick up that pine cone, whether it be in the left hand or the right hand. Just notice the texture of that pine cone and how interesting it can be just to hold that and really focus and notice the detail of that. And as you get a sense of that in that hand, you can just allow yourself to relax more into the atmosphere of this place. And then you can maybe notice a different kind of pine cone in front of you, whether it's a more open kind of pine cone or a closed pine cone. Just getting a sense of being able to pick up that other pine cone in the other hand. So holding them both together. And you can relax more as you notice the differences in textures between the different pine cones in the different hands. And how interesting that is to notice the different textures as you run those through your hands. And then you can just gently place those pine cones down and continue on the journey. And you can relax more as you perhaps notice within that woodland some wonderful bluebells. Perhaps you can notice the beautiful colour and the feeling that can give you in the body And you can really just take the time to pause, to really absorb the sight of those bluebells. And that's right. And then just allowing yourself to continue through the woodland. You can notice perhaps some interesting markings on some of the trees, perhaps wondering what those markings are. Maybe they're the markings of some deer or some other animal that you may see in this place at some point. And as you look up, you can maybe notice a bird's nest in a tree. Just notice the wonderful structure, the way the bird has created that nest, and what it is in particular that you notice about the structure of that bird nest. And as you continue through that woodland, you can again get a sense of that sunshine shining through, and continuing with each step forwards, being able to relax more. And maybe you haven't seen everything yet that you can see that will allow you to relax even more. But I wonder what it might be like for you to notice within that woodland a wonderful and interesting looking red squirrel, like the kind that used to be commonplace. Just a wonderful red squirrel, and the colour of that squirrel, the way it moves, just sensing the movement, and how interesting it is to see something that is far less commonplace than it used to be. Getting a sense of how that makes you feel in the body, just to notice that. And then you can just move away from that woodland, just moving through the trees, coming out through the clearing where it may be light. And perhaps you can notice a stream in the distance, a stream with a bridge going across it. And as you draw closer and closer towards that bridge, you can begin to see more clearly some of the things that are around that bridge. Grass around the bridge, perhaps some flowers, noticing the colour of those flowers that you can see. And you may be aware of the relaxation in your body as you continue to get closer to that bridge and that stream. And you may be more aware of being able to relax more as you get closer and closer to that bridge. And as you get closer and closer to that bridge and that stream, maybe getting a sense of the sound of the running water, and how nice it is to feel that in the body as you hear the sound of relaxation, because when you focus on the sound, it can allow you to relax even more. And you don't have to try or try not to try to relax more. It can be something that just happens. And as you notice being very, very much closer to that stream and that bridge just now, you can get an even clearer sense of the sound of that stream and how nice that is to hear that sound. And you can just perhaps notice two different sticks by the side of the bridge. Perhaps one is darker in colour, brown, and the other one a little lighter. And you can get a sense of picking up both of those sticks and then moving on to the centre of that bridge. You can just throw those sticks gently into the stream, noticing the direction of the current, and then moving to the other side of the bridge, wondering which stick will come through first, whether it be that lighter stick or the darker stick, just taking the time to notice which that is for you that comes through the other side of that bridge first. And without a care, just being able to experience the distance from your concerns, how wonderful it is just to do something so silly like that, just to notice a stick coming through first, and how entertaining that can be when you feel so relaxed in that kind of way. And then you can just notice being on that other side of that bridge as you step over that, continuing on your walk, noticing perhaps a grassy kind of area around you now. And as you continue on your walk, you can notice some of the wildflowers around you. And maybe there is one particular wildflower around you that can particularly draw your attention, and whether it be similar to the other flowers or whether it just be completely different, just noticing what it is about that flower that just really draws you in. And you can just bend down, crouch down, just seeing that flower closer. You can get a strong sense of the colour of that flower, maybe just gently touching the petals, and maybe, if you like, just getting a sense of the smell of that flower. And then, when you've noticed that, you can perhaps just leave that flower where it had been and continue on your way. Maybe you can notice now, in the distance, some kind of wonderful large lake, and you can draw closer and closer towards that lake, and there's no need for you to relax more straight away as you draw closer towards that lake. You can just feel a deeper level of calm as you perhaps get closer and closer. And you can be curious and interested to know what is around the lake as you draw closer still towards that lake. Maybe taking the time just to move gently nearer to the edge. You can notice the ripples in the lake, and you can see perhaps just one singular swan on that lake, just taking the time to notice the majesty of that swan as it floats around, noticing the beautiful white colour of that swan, bright white, as it just elegantly and beautifully kind of glides along in the water. And there are various stories we are told as children in relation to swans, and maybe that can come to mind. I wonder what it might be like just to get a sense of that swan and what it has taken to get to that stage. And then just noticing a really curious and interesting thing about that swan for just a moment. Something you don't often think about. And you can see that swan at the edge of the water closest to you, just suddenly and quickly opening its wingspan to full wingspan and just flying very, very low across that lake from one side of the lake to the other. Just getting a sense of that and noticing how wonderful that looks to see that swan flying very low across the lake to the other side somewhere. And then, in seeing that, you can just perhaps notice being able to continue on your journey, and perhaps now getting closer to another kind of wooded area, a really pleasant wooded area. And this time, as you go through this wooded area, you can just focus on the sound of a woodpecker, and that sort of intermittent sound. You can just focus in more on that sound. Wonderfully hypnotic that sound can be when you focus on that sound. The sound of the woodpecker. On with the sound, and then off as it pecks, and then stops. Just focusing in on that more. And when you focus on that sound, you can also notice some of the things that are around you at the same time. Some of the things that you can see around you, whatever that may be, just adding to the sense of calm and relaxation of that place. noticing how that feels in the body, a deeper level of calm and rest, and that's right. And then you can just find yourself moving forwards through that woodland, and perhaps as you go through that woodland, maybe noticing a wonderful kind of pond as you go through to the other side. You can be curious about that pond, perhaps. Maybe noticing some of the lily pads, what it might be like, just to estimate in your head how many lily pads there might be. As you notice that pond and as you draw closer to that pond, you can notice some of the wildlife within that pond, getting a sense of what you may notice, whether there's any fish in there, whatever it is that you might see in that pond, anything that might just add to the sort of tranquility of that place. And then you can get an even deeper level of calm, and you can be so curious to know how much more deeply relaxed you can go, more deeply relaxed, and you can continue on your journey. And as you move along, you may notice perhaps a singular tree in the middle of some grass, maybe with blossom, however that may look for you, getting a sense of that tree and what it is about that tree that can just make it look so beautiful and inviting to look at. And you can pass through, moving past that tree, noticing in more detail as you pass more of the beauty of that tree and the wonderful colours of that tree. And you can notice now in the distance some deer, how they look in the distance, the movement, and the wonderful sort of light ease to the movement of the deer, the colouring of the deer, and whatever it is that you can notice about those deer in the distance. Maybe getting a sense of those deer having an awareness that you're there, but because you're so far away, they're not too concerned by you. And as you continue to pass through, maybe focusing on the grass that's near you, you can maybe see some clover along the grass. And people know that it's not often that you see a four-leaf clover. I wonder what it might be like for you to do a quick search among that clover, just to see if you can notice a four-leaf clover. And then what it might be like for you, having spent the time to look through, just to notice something over there that looks like a four-leaf clover. And you can maybe be curious, asking yourself whether it is indeed a four-leaf clover, and you can draw closer to that and examine it closer, noticing is a four-leaf clover, and how nice that feels to notice something that you don't often see that's more of a rarity. And then in noticing that, you can perhaps move away from that sort of grassy area, and you can see some of the other things that are around you, perhaps some bushes with berries on, and you may wish to examine the berries on those bushes, whether they are edible berries, if you want to eat some of the berries, and getting a sense of the taste and the texture. And what it is about this place that just allows you to feel real joy about being in nature. And you can feel that calm peace and the health of the wonderful calm away from everything to heal the mind and the body in this way when you're in nature like this. Maybe you can take the time to remember some of the things that you've seen so far, some of the things that you have heard in nature, and some of the textures, and in doing so, you can continue on your journey in nature as you find you can sense a deeper level of calm and rest, and just continue to find that deeper level of calm and rest. And sleep well.